What the hell? Anyways, everyone, welcome back to the Study Prep Guys CSEC channel. It's nice to be back with everyone. Today, we'll be taking a look at the learners, drivers, theoretical notes and exam. This is in relation to preparation for that. So, in this course, this course is mainly for Guyanese personnel. So, for persons outside of Guyana, I don't know, but some of the notes will be inclusive of all drivers unilaterally. So, with that said, let's actually start on the course. At least if you are caught in the act, you will be charged 7,500. So it's a very big fee, not really, I wouldn't say a gigantic fee, but it's still a fee. You will be fined 7,500 in case of your second time caught in the act of drinking and driving. You will lose your license for 1 year, and if you are caught for a third time, you will permanently lose your license. Anyways, guys, so don't drink and drive. It's very dangerous, and in the case of that, um, don't try to do it. It's actually just dangerous for yourself and even. So let's move on. So the learner drivers code is third party risk. This is relation to Act Chapter 51, and this is written within the Constitution. And then we have the traffic signs, signals, and road markings, which is vitally important. Of all of these, um, so what I would suggest, usually in the exam, they them and yeah, the braking system and the speed limits. Traffic signals, yes, they would mainly bring the braking system and principle of steering and corner control of a motor vehicle and highway code. Some of that are things that are very vital. Some of these, if, for example, the principle of steering, cornering, control of a motor vehicle, very important. Braking systems, this is usually 90% of the time comes an exam. So with that said, let's actually just go into, I'll just skip a lot of these notes and I'll just go into the most important aspect, at least in my, if you could just find it, because most of these here are just, so what I like to focus on this video is something called focus of, or the concepts of DD. I like to call it DD, which stands for defensive driving. So the basic idea of driving or defensive driving is basically an ideology, meaning that defensive driving, in its most simplest of senses, is trying to do everything in your ability to stop any upcoming accidents. That's what defensive driving actually is. So there are three basic ideas that form the foundation of DD. Once you understand the ideology behind them, you are on your way to becoming a defensive driver. So they're basically, let me just put it on the screen. Five. There are the five C's of defensive driving. The first C is common sense. You know, when you're on the road, there is a very important or courteous thing you need to do is to have common sense. So the first C of defensive driving is common sense. The second C is courtesy. The third C is caution. The fourth C is go into it. So where is it? 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 I think there is. Yes, here is the five C's, guys. So as I said before, there are five C's when it comes to a courteous driver. There's care, there's caution, courtesy, consideration, and common sense. These are the fundamental building blocks of what we consider to be a good driver, an adequate driver. So care, caution, courtesy, meaning that you just don't put yourself first. You be courteous, you be kind. Consideration is not only thinking for yourself, but thinking for the opinions of others. If you make a wrong move, it will not only affect you, it will affect a lot of other drivers in that case scenario. So, so in a case like that, consideration is also important. Then we have caution. You be careful how you drive. You be careful not to or to be a contributor of an accident. Then we have care, caring for your vehicle and caring for people also, because that could put you in a lot of expenses. Sense, meaning that when you're on the road, utilize basic your hearing ability and everything, every part of your body. Utilize, you stay focused, you keep your head caps on in a case in all at all times. You keep your thinking cap all times when you're driving in order to avoid any accidents, any collision, and any faculties. So let's go into the theory, which is the second part. I won't really stay too long. I want to make a couple of videos on this here. So let's look into the theory of driving and what a good driver actually. First of all, a good driver understands himself. He is reduced from strain. He does not drink and drive and gives full attention or concentration. So in a case, there are three abilities that he understands of himself. He keeps his thinking cap on. That's number one. And he on driving. And number three, he is not a drunk driver. If he is in the case of drinking, he does not drive. So that is some of the basic abilities of a good driver, at least how they view themselves. And then we have the use of mirrors, which is very important. The mirror is your third eye. In the case of a courteous, in case of a proper driver, utilize the mirrors as their third eye sight, meaning that they could see from the back, they could see in driving. The blind spot is that area you cannot see at all. The blind spot is an area whereby drivers, or most of the time, drivers actually engage in accidents because they cannot. And when they're probably in the case of like you're reversing, they may not even see it. They might not even see it. Elderly women or elderly woman going by, and that may cause an accident. So the use of mirrors. Then we have the use of the handbrake. Usually, whenever you're going to stop your vehicle, you usually put it in park and then you put down your handbrake. The handbrake is usually go up to stop your vehicle. So the handbrake is often inadequate referred to as a braking, as a parking brake. It has, however, other equally important use. For example, it should be used to hold the vehicle stationary whenever necessary, even for temporary stops such as traffic lights, pedestrian crossing, etc., independently of the foot control. Then we have I'll focus on for the learner driver, and then we'll go on to starting off your vehicle, what needs to be done, at least in the case of manual driving. There are mainly two types of driving. There are manual and there is automatic. However, we'll be focusing mainly on manual, at least for this part of the video. And then let's look at the learner driver, and then we go on to the manual starting off of the vehicle. So we refer to the use of handbrake when starting and stopping. what needs to be done before starting off. You check that the gear lever is in neutral and that the handbrake is on. Start engine. Make sure the way is clear in front and behind, making sure that you take a look at who is behind front of you. Left clutch on the clutch pedal, meaning you just put on your left foot, and clutch engage the vehicle. Meaning that at the same time you're putting your foot, we'll see, into your left foot on. So the left foot is being utilized for the clutch. So you put your clutch in or you clutch in on your left foot, and then your right foot or foot over accelerator pad, select fourth gear, check behind by looking around, you check behind, signal with your indicator, handbrake, squeeze handle to release clutch, and carry out the following simulations smoothly. So you release the handbrake slowly, left foot slowly up, letting clutch into down on the accelerator to increase engine speed off, and then that's how you take a smooth flow off of the vehicle. With that said and done, guys, thank you for staying in tune, guys, and see you out in the next video. This will, guys, subscribe to Cedric Guys CSEC, and see you guys in the next video.